Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Maru, can you see my screen, 2 tabs?
Yes, I can.
Okay, wonderful. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's Will here again. We don't have any pre-submitted questions from the audience today. Please, as always, you can use the chat feature, you can use the raise hand feature, or you can ask your question in the Q&A section if you have a question for us today. I will be here awaiting any questions from the crowd. We had a great bunch of questions yesterday, so. Okay, Murray, can you point me to the best documentation about flow management as a troubleshooting tool? And are you talking about the flow management dashboard?
Yes.
Do we have good docs for this? That's the first question.
And I didn't look, I'll be honest.
No worries. This is a place I'm sure, considering the detailedness of, or the sort of the details here, I don't know that we have a good. Flow management dashboards. Using the pause. Yeah, we do not have a good one. So if you look at the flow management dashboard, do we have someone from Docs on today? We don't, do we? If you look at your flow management dashboard, what you see here on this root page is a list of all of your stored flows. Just think about these as flows that have assigned forms in them.
Okay.
And then as you click into each row, oh man. Sorry, just a moment. What you see on the right-hand side, though, there's this is a list of the steps. So maybe main flow here, you'll see the list of the steps, and it'll show you historical steps and current. Now, if your flow gets into a bad state, like an exception occurs that you didn't catch, the primary thing you can do here is restart at a particular step. And you'll see here, like right now, there's 3 steps that it is registered, and the current step is this. And the step name is internal assignee. It's a form step. And it's inside of the main flow here. Let's see if we can find another example that's a little bit more meaningful. It looks like I don't have any really good examples. And so let's assume you have a flow. That flow has a series of assigned forms. I can restart that flow at previous assigned forms if I need to. And what you could see, let's assume I see the type of step historical. These are past events, and I see current. I can go to historical, and I can restart at a step or restart start after on a button on an outcome path of that step. And let's assume I have a flow. That flow has an assigned form. It gets completed, and then it goes to a send email step. That send email step fails, and I don't have a catch exception that handles that. Well, that flow is now in a bad state. Probably what you would do is go back and say restart at the step. I fixed my SMTP server issue. I'm going to go back and restart this flow at the step that failed. And I could come here and I could click restart at step. Go ahead.
Okay, so what you pointed out, so there was an email step that failed because of a configuration. How would you find that using flow management?
You would go and you want to find the flow tracking ID, right? So do I have any?
And this is a question someone couldn't help me with. I don't remember if it was a support ticket or if it was on a lunch and learn, where I said, I have cases. How do I find the flow tracking ID?
Oh, for a case?
Mm-hmm.
Oh gosh, we're gonna make that a big pain in the butt, aren't we? So if you have a case, you've got to. Oh Lord, okay. There. That's
well, I don't want to derail this.
No, that's a great question. No, that is a really good question. Let me just quickly see. Let's answer this question for you. And there's not really a whole lot of other questions coming in, so I'm happy to take this one on. So let's just create myself a space. Okay, and then let's look at the query editor here, and let's find our case data structure. Does it have flow tracking ID? It doesn't have flow tracking ID. Doesn't have flow ID. Interesting. Process folders give you flow tracking ID. Let's see. Now, okay, so here's an interesting question. Your case has like case action flows on it? Like you have small flows that each have like maybe one or maybe very few assigned forms that you launch like from entity actions? Or it's one big flowing process that moves through different assigned forms?
A little bit of both. Mostly it's one giant process with several subflows.
Okay. Huh. So what's the flow track?
So this is the cache processing application we're talking about. That it doesn't really happen a lot because these are like 10-minute flows. You look at it, you say it goes, it doesn't go. But we're getting ready to start something that's going to be an approval and onboarding process where flows will last potentially for weeks.
Right.
I need to be better able to figure out what state it's in and where it got hooked, messed up than I can now. That also hasn't been built, so we can build it in a way that's easier to troubleshoot if that's what we need to do. I was just starting with flow management as a place to look to see what I could find.
I don't know that we surface this very well in the UI at the moment, and that's definitely a weak spot. We can definitely find a way using a query to get you the flow tracking ID because the assignment has flow tracking ID in it. So you could have something like what I'm trying to put together here. Let me see, case data structure. Let me do this. Insert, select. Okay. Case test one. Where do case states live. Let's see here, case test one. Okay, case underscore test. Okay, so LNL. LNL, where do case states live? There we go. This should be much easier to do. This is way too difficult. So this would be case dot extension ID equals EF dot extension ID. Will that give me anything? As case, inner join, boom, as case. All right, on. Oh, come on. As EA, inner join, on, inner join, as case. Oh, I can't use case because that's a special reserve word, isn't it? So current case, and this would be current case. And then, yeah, so, and you would say something like where EF dot state equals like exception or something. So anyways, this is probably not that helpful. I can put this, I'll just put this in the chat. But we can, so unfortunately, yeah, the problem is you have to make a link from the assignment to the folder of the case to the case object.
Okay.
And then that's what I did here, because the assignment has the flow tracking ID as part of it. And then once you have that, let's assume we've just agreed that this is a reasonable thing to do, which it isn't, right? You shouldn't have to do all that work. But using a database query, we could get to this. So if we needed to construct like a maintenance user dashboard for you to just be able to quickly interact with these long running processes, we can definitely surface the flow tracking ID from like a query and then run a report against that query, right?
Okay.
But let's assume we have that. We get the flow tracking ID from our thing. You would come to flow management and you would filter this report using the flow tracking ID, which you can see here on the right-hand side. And then that would let you look at the list of that particular flow. And then you could revert that particular flow back.
Okay, so without looking here, let's say an end user contacts us and says, I should have gotten notified of blah, 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 and it hasn't happened.
Okay.
Okay, so I can't say, I want to make sure, I cannot visually look at my process flow like you can in the debugger and say, oh, that's the step that's red. I need to go find out what happened here. Can I do that?
You cannot do that, no.
Okay.
You would want to have good exception handling. What you should have is a catch exception, like a global catch exception step that goes to an assigned form that gets assigned to some sort of administrator type user. Doesn't have to be a system admin, but it might be like the IT ops team or the technical team that manages the process for your business owners. And if an exception occurs, like they get in assignment notification, and then it can pass in. We've got, we definitely have like an assignment handler, like project that we can give you that has a lot of the stuff. It's the step name, user, flow name, error event, right? Like you could basically construct a user interface for these users to be notified of and manage the processes that have gone awry from.
That would be great if you could send me that project.
Yeah, let me see. Is it in the App Store? I don't know that it is. It's not stuff that's installed. Supporting query. I can ask someone to send that to you. I'm going to email Josh right now and ask him. I'm going to email Josh and copy you and ask him to send that over.
That'd be wonderful. Thank you.
But yeah, really what you want to think about is like using exception handling to create assignments. And those assignments are like a function of whoever manages the process. If it's your team or if it's the business directly, you kind of create another sort of management view with a dashboard and reports and such that shows you the the failures in that particular process.
Okay.
So, and you can do that. The other assignments, you can assign them to whichever group you want. If you need a process specific or you need system admins to do it, whoever it might be, you can build all that stuff out.
Wonderful.
Okay. All right, here we go. Got a question from Josh. I'm going to answer live. Oh, stink. Here we go. Let me post this into the chat for everyone to see. In a case designer, I have user action showing up in both the page top horizontal panel and the case viewer top horizontal panel. At change state, the user actions are not updating in the case viewer, but they are on the page view. The case viewer. Let me build a quick case so I can just get one. Where's the thing I just built from today? Claps. What's today, the 15th?
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna build a case here really quickly. It's called Josh case test. Give it a single property and show add, delete and edit actions and save this. Get my compile. And I'm going to come to case actions, go to add entity, or add case, Josh test one, call this test one. Hello world, and click OK. Now I have a case C10. Josh, are you able to help me understand, like, what is it you see? I'm in a case right now. I see actions here on the gray bar. I see some actions in the pin tab on the top. That might be specific to 7. Let's see here. In a case designer, I have user action showing up in both the page top horizontal panel and the case viewer. I'm imagining that must be what this is. The user actions are not updating in the case. Hey, can you hear me?
I will. Yep.
Okay.
Where you see the pin on the top, push that. Okay, click the 3 dotted lines again. Okay, that's on that horizontal panel. I have my user actions, the same, the orange buttons.
Okay.
I guess the easiest thing is just to not pin that panel. However, I was looking for a way. It's weird in yours, it's not duplicated, but in mine it is. I'm gonna send a screenshot of what I have.
So you see like 2 pin panel type things?
I'm gonna send it to you right now. I can send that. I can't send a file here, can I?
You could just email it to me really quick. It's just will@decisions.com. I could just pull it up. Assuming email's fast today.
Garcia with Brothers Bay. I'm calling in regards to berries. I was wondering if you're working right now with strawberry or blueberry.
My case view is embedded in a page, and in the case view, I can see my user actions in the top panel. However, on the page itself, I have repeated the same user actions. That's screenshot. The easiest thing to do is just to hide the bar. It's a cosmetic thing.
It sounds like, but you shouldn't. Sounds like you might have like just kind of an irritating bug here.
Yeah, it might be a bug. I'm in 7. That makes sense. 10.
Yeah, so this is 7.2 for sure. The pin only exists, that pin view only exists in 7. And I've seen something that,
Yeah, you know, for my users, it's confusing because yeah, it needs an explanation. Just ignore the top ones. But it'd be nice. If,
okay, yeah, let's see here.
Ah,
Okay, so you got a custom, hold on, oh, let me add a custom action here, just a moment. So I'll go create a custom action here, user action, create user action flow 1. I'll just connect start step to end step. Okay, and then I'll come back to case action, click into test 1. And I should have the action at the top here. Let me create a new one really quickly. Add case, Josh, case test 2. Case actions, test 2. Yeah, so it's, oh, there it is. It's here and here.
yeah, see what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, and this is in the designer, and it's the same in the portal.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
in the
I would
studio,
assume so.
it's the same in the portal.
Yep. So can you just globally hide the pin control? We'll just see.
Del otro lado, o sea, cuando son cajas genéricas, pues no, cuando es una cara o dos caras o lo que sea, a lo mejor nunca, el comprador nunca manda las cajas, ¿no? Nunca manda las cajas. El in and out casi siempre yo lo he visto muy seguro, ¿no? O sea, lo veo 100%, siempre hay cosas.
¿Cómo estás, Raúl? Buenas tardes.
¿No? Al menos que
oye, solo un favor enorme.
I don't know that we give you the ability to control that
Pero también tuve yo el
right now, but we should, we absolutely, I mean, you shouldn't. We can either edit the default case view to remove this bar, or we've got to ask the dev team to figure out how to be able to hide this action bar as well.
Yeah, I'd prefer if it could be a global setting because yeah, I want to have in the case view itself, I want to make sure to have those buttons just to keep it contained, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. So let me ask the development team. I'm going to submit a support ticket and ask them to look at this for you, Josh. I don't know, and we might have to get a DT in.
Okay, yeah, throw me in there and I'll jump on a call, talk it out. Maybe they have other ideas.
Yeah.
I'm fine changing the default case view, no problem if that's what it takes. But
yeah, but you shouldn't have to.
Okay. I wanted to ask something else also about case entities. So
Sure.
In Studio, sorry, in the portal, I have a root folder called cases, and in here I have a subfolder for all the cases created.
Okay.
And they're logged based on the case ID in the Studio and portal. That's great for my users. And I was wondering if there's a way to expose that on a page or in the workflow, start workflow, the top panel. Yeah, I'm wondering if you had any experience working with that.
Let me say that again for me. I'm not sure I follow exactly.
So in portal, if you switch to portal, there should be, oh, I don't see it here. There is a way to configure a root folder called cases where all cases are logged in some.
Okay. Yeah, okay, sure.
Yep. And that's fine, that works, but I'm wondering if there's a more dynamic way to have my users interact with that folder. For example, if I could set up an API or maybe do something with this start workflow. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you can, it's a question where, can you control where the cases go?
Not where the cases go, I see where the cases go, but the cases go in its own subfolder. and I wanted to expose that subfolder on a page via direct URL. But
Oh
I
yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. You can do that. Yeah, so like you could create like I could create a report, right?
Mhm.
And then this would be the cases or whatever, right?
so instead of my users having to enter their account and go in the portal, they can just to this direct URL.
Yeah, sure. So go to
Okay.
case entity. You go create a report, right? User defined type case entity.
Mhm.
Here's Josh case test. And I'm going to build my report, right? I'm not going to put any data in this thing,
Okay.
right?
Gotcha.
So I have this report. Now, what I would do is this. I create a folder here called like all cases or whatever. This is, I'll say for this project, right?
Okay.
Once I have that folder, I create a report. I'll create a page. Here's a page, create page. On that page,
Report viewer. Okay,
I
gotcha.
put a report viewer. I'm going to pick that report I just created, right? Okay.
Okay, so
And then,
yes, with the case entity.
yep.
Okay.
And then I'm going to go to that folder. I'm going to put that page on the folder. So I'm going to come to manage page dashboard, add page dashboard. And I'm going to select that page. I'll just call this thing details. You always want to do this on a folder, right? Not just a page
project
itself.
designer. Okay.
And then what I can do is I can right click, manage integration, view integration details. And I'll say login, and I'll say ID, and I'll say HTML, whatever. And then here's my URL. And if I, and what I'll do is say, I'm going to say Chrome.
What does Chrome do?
You'll see here in just a sec. I'll give you a few. Chrome off is just going to load just my page, and versus the whole portal experience. Like with Chrome, like the user now sees like none of the studio here. Or you could do like Chrome equals, I think, small, and you could get the top bar, right? We wouldn't do.
If you click on a case from this report viewer, what happens?
Same thing. You can go into the case.
Oh, great. That's perfect.
So you can then use this page designed with tiles and other reports and charts, however, whatever data or user experience enrichment you want to do.
Hi, this is Alex.
And then they just go to this URL and they only see this.
Fantastic. And if you click on the case again, let's see if the user actions are double shown.
They
aren't.
They would still be with the pin though. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. Appreciate it, Will.
Does that give you what you needed?
Yep.
Okay. Wonderful. You bet.
Thanks.
All right. That gets us close to 12:30. Carlos has got a question. But Carlos is on our team. Can we go over how the setting new window style work in portal settings? I just can't find a lot about it in documentation. I'm not sure what Carlos is referring to there, and he left us already. So I'll leave that one alone for today. Okay. Anything else from anyone today? All righty, that looks like everything today then. So Josh, I just shot that ticket into support. Someone will be reaching out to you for that. And then I think Maru, who is on deck for helping us with Lunch and Learn for tomorrow?
Tomorrow we have Dylan Roberts, and on Thursday we have Derek Hippa.
Okay, wonderful. We got some of our PS architecture guys for the rest of the week. So thanks everyone for the questions this week. I look forward to talking to you all next week. And please make sure you know everyone that works in decisions at your companies, please beat them over the head and tell them to come join us on these lunch and learns. There's no better way to learn. Maybe I shouldn't have advocate for violence, but you know what I mean. Make sure that they know about these. So thanks everyone. Have a great afternoon.